Hi, everybody. So, today I want to talk about embracing imperfection. Knowing that the more you embrace imperfection, the better you're capable of getting things done. The more, honest you are with yourself, the more progress you're going to be able to make along the way. And the better you're going to manage your time and not get so, obsessed about perfecting something. I know that perfection is like the ultimate goal, but for someone to like start out and say, I'm gonna be perfect, and have that habit of mind of trying to like be perfect, they're probably gonna be terrified to start. So they're gonna procrastinate a lot, and every single time they think about that task, they have this like unrealistic expectation for the task to be a certain way, and that's going to like terrify them. And when they're terrified, they're probably going to distract themselves from that feeling of terror and that feeling of like really being overwhelmed by the amount of difficulty they're going to face because they have this unrealistic expectation, right? And they want that result so bad that they can't even think about something less than that. They can't even like bring themselves to break it down and, make it into smaller steps, right? Because all they think about is that big result. And to some extent, I would say that's also like being goal oriented rather than system oriented. Like, I don't even know if I could call it goal oriented, because it's not even goal oriented. It's like nothing, having so much stagnation because of being terrified of that perfect goal that you've set. And so I would say like their focus is on the results instead of focusing on the system, like how the tiniest action can lead to the bigger picture that they're expecting to come along the way. And that inability to like really see it as something imperfect first and then slowly and incrementally work on it to figure out how it's gonna become that finished product that they're dreaming of is probably going to like extremely impede their action. And so I would say like you have to have this capacity of breaking everything down to smaller pieces and like imperfect version of that goal. Like say to yourself, I'm not gonna, I have this goal of like reaching this perfect result, but for now I would say I am content having just a very messy version of that, like a very unfinished version of that, a draft of that looks like that to an extent, but it's nowhere near it, right? And when you give yourself that direction, that's going to break the loop of stagnation, because that loop of stagnation is coming from the place of wanting that bigger, that perfect result right away, and not being content having something less than that before they reach to that bigger results. So knowing that the best mental habit is to like be able to imagine something less than perfect first, and then like slowly work on it and perfect it and make it into something wholesome and something more detailed and brilliant, right? And that mental habit is such an important tool for any kind of task, any project. Like, it doesn't matter what kind of project that is. It could be an art project, it could be something like, I don't know, like even a scientific researcher. If they have like this perfect expectation of themselves, then they're probably not going to ever start, because that's just so impossible, and they're not going to ever access that perfect result. So like you have to be content with something that resembles it but doesn't feel finished, okay? So like being okay with an unfinished process is like the most important skill for anyone to have. And knowing that you're gonna like stay in that process for such a long while is important too, because like sometimes you're just so impatient that you rush through the whole process, and like you just want to get to the finished product, and you're not ever gonna enjoy the process. Therefore, when it's like not enjoyable, then the whole thing is gonna fail, because you're not really pouring the entirety of your attention onto it. You're just like being so obsessed with something that isn't there yet, okay? And that's going to distract you from paying attention to the detail of your work as it is happening right now, in the process of it. So knowing that you have to fall in love with the system, not, the inevitable result of the system, is such an important thing. And it would never disappoint you if you keep that in mind. So yeah. So that's what I wanted to talk about.